flawless face, it requires more than great makeup application. It's also about the maintenance. Leandra Rivera is the owner and head artist of Makeup by Lay, and she joins us with her model, Christine, to tell us more about maintenance before makeup. Yes. Now, you mean basically you got to take care of your skin.
Definitely. It's very, very important, especially when we like wearing makeup almost every day. So it's very good to just take the steps ahead of time to avoid any problems with the skin.
Now, what's the first step we should think about? We all know wash your face. That's something we've done since we were a kid. But it becomes a much more important regimen once you are older, of course. But
definitely,
not everyone thinks about that first step.
Well, the first step I always say is hydration. If you're not drinking enough water, you will tend to see more pores on the skin. The skin will dry out. You tend to have more dry skin. So drinking water is very important. Drink as much as you can a day, at least 8 cups.
Inside out, right?
Yes,
that's what we
definitely
want to focus on. Now, what about a moisturizer? I know, I like to use something with a salicylic acid, but apparently as we get older, that's not the best option because our skin changes as we grow.
Well, before we moisturize, I usually like to exfoliate the skin and kind of remove any of the dead skin. Our skin is very active when we sleep, just throughout the day, being outside in the pollution and just the natural air. It does tend to wear on our skin. So, to kind of get rid of that and remove anything, any blackheads or we could just exfoliate. This here is an exfoliating buffer sponge, but you could also use an exfoliating cream. Some of them tend to be rough on the skin because they have very hard granules. So I always say to kind of see what works best for your skin type. I tend to be very oily, so exfoliation every day is very important.
Now, how would you use something like that demonstrating on Christine?
Well, you would want to do circular motions. I noticed that mainly on the top of the cheek areas, that's usually where the most issues are with pores. So you would just use circular motions. You would want to avoid right under the eyes because under there is very, very sensitive. You wouldn't want to drag on the eye at all to cause bags.
Okay.
But mainly on the cheeks, around the forehead, on the bridge of the nose, that's usually where oil tends to build up. And you could just do circular motions and rub up and down on the nose. And then once you exfoliate, then I like to cleanse and moisturize. And you could use a very mild cleanser, something very light. I like to use this. This is very sensitive. And it kind of doubles as a cleaner and a moisturizer. So you could put it on, remove your makeup, and still leave it on as a moisturizer as well.
Great, so it's very, very mild, good for sensitive skin. And then moisturization, now there's many different roads you can go with that. Obviously, there's like night cream, day cream, it's overwhelming.
Yes.
So what is it that you suggest that everyone should definitely use?
Well, to prep the skin, you could use, like I mentioned, a very mild moisturizer, but because so many skin types are so different, you could kind of choose something that doesn't make you too oily, something that still gives you that mattified look. This here is more so to prep the skin before makeup. So these are 2 different primers that you could get and put on the skin before the makeup, and that somewhat creates a barricade between the skin and the makeup so it's not being absorbed into the pores.
And of course an SPF is important too to protect you from the sun.
SPF is very, very important on the lips and the skin.
And problem areas, just looking at Christine, if you could demonstrate, where are the typical problem areas for people when it comes to shine and oils?
Well, most of the time it is on the T-zone, right in the top of the forehead, through the middle, and on the sides of the face. That's usually where the oil tends to kind of clog up the pores and add shine to the face. There's also rice paper that you could use to kind of tone down the shine. It happens to all of us. I tend to be very, very oily, so rice paper always helps.
Yes, me too, Leandra. I totally agree. And these are all things that we can do. If we take all these steps, then makeup application will be that much easier and give us a much more flawless